And as you can see, all the gear and no idea. So I just wanted to follow up with a video following on our discussion this morning about using a stain pad and application of the Clean Armor to your workpiece. This is just a cheap stain pad from Lowe's or Home Depot or Amazon. It's just a piece of sponge or foam, then covered with a microfiber towel, stitched at the one end. Really good and flexible and nice for spreading out product on work surfaces. But the downside is it tends to leave lint and bits of fiber in the workpiece and your coating, which is not desirable. So using this in conjunction with my special wipes, we have a really great solution that can give you a really nice finish. So basically starting with a pour out application on your first coat, pouring a little bead along the line there. Take my wipe that I'll be sending to you, fold it in half and then in half again to create quarter. It'll create a little nice round radius, and I use that with in my hand like this, obviously with a glove in gloved hand, and then I would start to take this bead or this poured out liquid coating and then just start to spread it, and then you just wipe it with a grain from end to end, carefully spreading the liquid until you've got like an even coat all over. And then I take that same cloth and sort of work the surface in circular motions, just pushing with marginal pressure to get that product into the grain. And then just before letting it stand, I'd run through that process again. Same cloth, the sides, and then leave it for 3 to 4 or 5 minutes or so, watching the surface, looking for the areas that are a little bit more porous and tend to dry a little. Taking your same cloth, you can then spread and re-wet those areas, and then once it's kind of settled, then I take that cloth and I would set it down on the microfiber stain pad, and sort of laying it in such a way that it hangs over the edge. I grab it with 2 hands and my thumbs holding the ends, the corners, and I would come to my workpiece and then sort of with marginal pressure drag it along from end to end. And you will find that this process would help even out that layer and spread it out nicely with not exaggerated wipes. You obviously find if you're using it like this with your fingers, you've got pressure points with your fingers and you tend to create those little wipe marks or streaks, but using this you've got an even pressure across the width. So once you've got that all done, leave it for 5 minutes or so, let it settle again, and then you're ready for your first stage cure. Before curing, if you want to reuse this, make sure you put it in a bag or stick it under your workbench out of UV light, and the same applies to your stain pad. Put it in a bag. I'll supply you one of these bags, and then it's safe from UV light. You can set that down, and then you can turn your UV light on for your 3 to 4 minutes, and you can watch your surface, or you can get on with another project or another part, and then when you come back you can feel for tackiness or greasiness, and if it's really cured, you can take your fingers and your nails and rub across the surface, just to double check that. If you're picking up any product in your nails it hasn't quite cured, another couple minutes, a minute or couple minutes will do it. Once that's done, you might find you've got a little bit of raised fiber in it, or some dirt maybe, or a bit of pips. Then I would take a 400, 600 or 800 on a pad and then just lightly scuff the surface. You don't have to get aggressive with it, you just want to knock off the tops, using alcohol available from CVS or Walgreens. 91% not rubbing alcohol, but the 91 to 99% available from your first aid section in your in Walgreens or CVS. Very good for cleaning and degreasing and also for thinning the clean armor. If you want to get the viscosity down a little bit, you can add up to 5, maybe even 10% of the alcohol. So really handy to have. Once you've cleaned that off with the alcohol, and it's if you've done a sanding operation. If you haven't done a sanding operation, then you're good to go with just your second coat. But outside of that, if you've done a denib and you wipe with alcohol, make sure the alcohol has all evaporated, and then you take a new new cloth, and then you would pour out another much less amount of product, same as you've done on the first stage, and then following the same principles with the cloth, lay it across, take it as it is like this, and then work that coat that you've poured out and work it across the surface using marginal pressure initially, and then once you've got that all down, let it settle, and then for a final wipe you can just take it and drag it ever so lightly, and you'll see that should give you a nice flat surface. And don't forget to double check your edges for any runs or excess material, and then again, these can be left out exposed to UV light to cure and then thrown in the trash, or alternatively stored for later use, but typically they tend to get a bit of wood stain in them. I would just throw them in the trash. They're pretty safe to go in the trash uncured, but if you're worried, throw them outside in the sun, let them cure, or leave them exposed to UV light and then dispose of them accordingly. Before you cure, always put your stain pad in the bag, seal the bag, and that can lay anywhere, or underneath on your workbench. And then as an example, I have marked my stain pad here with a gloss and a 700 and the date, so I've got an idea and I can reuse that time and time again. That's very handy and really great. So just as an example, here is a satin finish board that I've done, and that is 2 coats, fully cured, no sanding or any after work. And then on the flip side, I have a gloss, high gloss finish, again just wipe and cured without any post-process sanding or polishing. And obviously, if you want to sand and polish on the glosses, you need to have sufficient material to do so, or sufficient coat depth. And then on the satins, typically 2 coats is adequate to seal and then maintain the grain look. So yeah, if that's all good for you and it makes sense, look forward to hearing your results, and we'll have your materials out to you tomorrow for early next week. Have a good one. Bye bye.